Right then, Celtic faithful, strap yourselves in because the international break is finally done and dusted, and we are hurtling straight into that relentless stretch where the fixture list feels like a train that will not stop. It is that time when every few days the lads are called back out onto the pitch, when recovery becomes its own match, and the squad is tested as much by minutes in the physio room as by minutes on the clock. From the reunion with St. Mirren this coming Saturday through to that final fixture before the next break, which falls way out towards the end of March, we are looking at 119 days of competitive football with no winter pause to catch breath. For the supporters, that is pure nectar. So much to talk about, so much drama, goals, controversies, and talking points. But for the players and staff, it is a relentless machine that requires smart rotation, ruthless management of minutes, and a squad that can step up when called upon. When people say it will be an ultra-marathon, they are not wrong. Even on the conservative count, Celtic have 26 matches penciled in for this block, and if the team navigate a couple of Scottish Cup ties and somehow sneak through to the Europa League knockout round playoff, that total could rise towards 30, even with the lower number that averages out to roughly a match every 4.5 days across those months. And that is the sort of schedule that exposes every weakness in depth. It means players who have been fringe options so far will need to become regular fixtures, which is both opportunity and gamble. We will see more of the likes of Luke McCaw in midfield, more enforced returns from Paulo Bernardo in various roles, and a chances for youngsters like Hayato and Amamura to show they can handle the rigors week in, week out. It also means defensive units will be shuffled more often than fans like, and that changes the rhythm of the game for a team that thrives on cohesion. Injuries loom large in this equation. The squad limps into the run with a handful of long-term absentees and a clutch of shorter-term doubts, so the demands on fit players will increase. There are some serious cases that will shape selection for months. One notable forward is out until early next year and will need time to rebuild fitness even after being declared available, while other figures are on the cusp of returning somewhere in the February to March window. These timelines are never exact, and every comeback requires managed minutes to avoid setbacks. There are also those who have not been seen since the opening minutes of a certain match in the autumn and might only return around the end of this month, which gives the manager only narrow windows to reintegrate them before the schedule becomes brutal. Two fresh worries arrived during the international break that add a pinch more anxiety. One youngster who was hauled off on a stretcher in an under-21 international looks to have escaped a fracture after scans, but the knock might still force a short spell on the sidelines. Another player came back with a thigh niggle and was spared further international duty, so he might nurse that problem with a short rest. The medical team will have their work cut out to keep the core available for the crunch fixtures. There is always the hope that a few international returns have actually refreshed rather than depleted certain members of the squad. The Scottish contingent, who were not away on duty, have had time to rest and build fitness, and a couple of others enjoyed breaks in quieter environments, which could see them raring to go. On the human side, seeing a talismanic forward pictured on crutches after a hamstring rupture is a harsh reminder of how quickly fortunes swing in sport. 1 minute, you're flying high with a decisive strike in a derby. The next, you're battling through post-surgery work to claw back lost time. Modern recovery techniques are part of the process, and it is encouraging to see players embracing every avenue to expedite their return. But hamstring injuries of that magnitude take patience and careful load management. The player in question has already shown glimpses of what he can offer in limited minutes, and given a fresh chapter under new coaching, could still be a meaningful asset when fit again. For now, though, his absence will be felt in the forward line, and the team will need others to step into that void. There were positive moments during the break too, with certain players returning on a high after helping their countries secure something special. One defender in particular scored a goal that mattered on the international stage and has understandably been riding an emotional high. His reaction suggested the magnitude of the achievement is still settling in. That sort of confidence can only benefit the dressing room, especially when it arrives at the precise moment the club needs lift and leadership. It will be interesting to see how that form translates back into training sessions and then into selection when the squad reconvenes in Lennoxtown. Talk of managerial developments continues to hang over the club, and that uncertainty seeps through the squad in subtle ways. Players must compartmentalize and focus on the immediate tasks, but when talk of who will be appointed and when persists in the media and among supporters, it is natural for there to be a ripple effect. The prevailing expectation within many quarters is that a particular candidate will step in, yet until the club make an official announcement, the situation remains a backdrop rather than a settled reality. Whatever the timeline, the squad have to be ready to play for whoever is in charge this weekend, and that is likely the overriding message from the coaching staff as they prepare the team for St. Mirren. Selection headaches arrive for Saturday, with several names already confirmed out and others touch and go. A centre forward is absent following his surgery and recovery, and that loss reshapes how the attack will be configured. The manager will have to weigh up whether to persist with a similar system or to tweak personnel to suit the availability on the day. That often means youth or lesser used players are given the chance to stake a claim, and some of them are hungry and eager, having trained hard behind the scenes for this very opportunity. Players like Jamal Simpson and Puzzy, who had a taste of first-team action before the break, might be entrusted with more responsibility, and that can only be a good thing for squad morale if they respond with energy and intelligence on the pitch. Off the pitch, tensions simmer in certain supporter areas, and at times that spills onto matchday atmospheres or into conversations within the football community. There are ongoing rows between factional groups and the club hierarchy that show no sign of disappearing overnight, and that is a dynamic which both the club and the fans must manage carefully. Escalation benefits no one, and the focus for the team has to remain on implementing game plans and securing results while the broader issues are addressed in the corridors away from the squad. At the same time, the annual general meeting is due, and that will inevitably throw up questions and statements that crop up in the press and amongst the fan base. Those events are part of the governance of any big club and often produce sound bites, but for the coaching staff, the immediate priority will be preparing for the fixture list that sits in front of them. With such a packed schedule ahead, the January transfer window offers a potential safety valve. The club will undoubtedly scan the market for reinforcements who can provide depth and resilience through the second half of the campaign. It is a delicate balancing act. Signing the right profiles who can slot in quickly and cope with the intensity is crucial while avoiding panic purchases that add little value. History shows that carefully considered additions in January can tilt a season, but they are no guarantee, and internal solutions, promoting from within, rotating wisely, and managing loads will be equally important in the immediate term. The medical updates over the next few days will shape whether the recruitment drive needs to be more urgent or can remain measured. The opening run of fixtures will set the tone. A good result on Saturday could usher in momentum and help the manager and players gain confidence, heading into a sequence that will not let up. Conversely, a poor start would magnify the pressure because there are no easy chances to reset when matches come thick and fast. That is why the upcoming selection decisions, the tactical tweaks, and the way the club manages recovery in training will matter so much. The supporters know the club has a culture of digging in during testing spells, and this feels like one of those moments where resilience and squad togetherness will determine whether Celtic can sustain a push on all fronts or whether priorities will start to emerge as the calendar bites harder. And as everyone gathers back at Lennoxtown, there is always that moment when the squad needs to shift from the rhythm of international duty into the club tempo once again. Some players return buzzing after strong performances for their countries. Others come back frustrated after limited minutes, and a few arrive carrying small knocks that need careful handling. The staff have to knit all of that together in a matter of days, making sure the group is aligned mentally for the demands that are now staring them in the face. These first few sessions after the break tend to set the mood, and you can almost feel the urgency in the air as the coaches push for sharpness, for intensity, and communication. With so many fixtures ahead, they cannot afford a slow easing in. Everything has to click immediately, even if the squad is still adjusting to the pace. There is also that unspoken pressure that creeps in when the title race tightens and every point becomes a statement. Even this early, the shape of the league table influences the mood around the training ground. Players know that dropping silly points in this next block can haunt a team for months, especially when fixtures start clashing with cup responsibilities and European commitments. The message from the staff will be clear: attack every match as though it carries the weight of a final, because the cumulative effect of this stretch could define the season. The supporters sense it too. You can hear it in conversations outside the stadium, in the tone of discussions online, and in the energy that builds as match day approaches. People understand what is at stake over the next few months, and that collective awareness can be a powerful motivator for the squad. The upcoming match against St. Mirren becomes more than just the first game after a break. It becomes the tone setter. Everyone will watch closely to see how the temporary coaching setup shapes the team, what tactical choices are made, and how players who are out of the spotlight before the break fit into the puzzle. These moments reveal a lot about the character of the squad, how the side responds to adversity, how leaders emerge, how young players hold their nerve, and how veterans steady the ship when things get chaotic. All of that will be under the microscope because consistency, more than brilliance, tends to define these marathon phases. It is not always about producing dazzling football every week. Sometimes it's about grinding out results, managing tight matches, and staying mentally disciplined when legs are heavy. There will naturally be curiosity around certain players who had flashes of form before the break. Supporters will want to see whether they can carry that momentum into this demanding run. Some midfielders, for example, had small bursts of confidence that hinted at growth, and this is the exact sort of period where they can cement themselves as trusted options. Wide players who have drifted in and out of matches will now be asked to produce more consistently, stretching defenses and relieving pressure during tough spells. And defenders who have been in and out of the lineup due to injuries around them will have to adapt quickly to new partners and different shapes depending on the tactical plan. These are the small internal battles that shape a team's resilience. The situation with the managerial appointment lingers in the background like a cloud that refuses to move, not stormy enough to cause panic, but present enough to be felt. Players are professionals and know how to stay focused on the pitch, yet uncertainty always introduces a degree of anticipation. Some will be eager to impress the incoming manager, hoping to strengthen their place in future plans. Others will feel the pressure of competition tightening as the club prepares for a new era. It creates a strange atmosphere, a blend of excitement and tension that can either energize the group or unsettle its rhythm. The timing of the announcement, whenever it comes, could have a significant impact on momentum. So for now, the coaching staff must make sure the squad remains grounded and unified. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. A low hum's been swirling around the East End, growing louder by the hour, and now it's burst into full-blown chatter across pubs, message boards, and taxi ranks. A major figure inside the Celtic dressing room is said to have handed in a request to leave. Nothing confirmed, nothing official, but the very suggestion has jolted supporters like a cold wind off the Clyde. Word from within Lennoxtown, whispered, not shouted, paints a picture of a player who couldn't keep on as things were. A strong character, someone long seen as a pillar of the squad, is rumored to have told the hierarchy he wants out at the next opening. The identity remains locked behind tight lips, but the tone of the murmurs suggests it's no fringe face. This is the sort of name that ripples through a team sheet, the type that anchors a dressing room, the sort that fans debate endlessly over a pint. Those close to the situation insist the reasons are complicated, a mix of personal frustration and a feeling that the current environment no longer suits him. Some reckon it's about minutes on the pitch, others whisper about disagreements behind closed doors, and a few even claim external interest has turned the player's head. No one seems certain, but everybody seems sure it's serious. Supporters have reacted with a blend of disbelief and dread. Social feeds are riddled with speculation, and callers on late-night radio are already bracing for the worst. There's talk of leadership lost, momentum shaken, and the club needing to act swiftly if the rumor proves true. Yet there's also a sliver of hope, the kind born of experience. Plenty of transfer tremors amount to nothing, and Celtic have weathered stormier seas before. Even so, the rumor refuses to fade. It hangs in the air, heavy as Glaswegian drizzle, waiting for someone at the club to deny it or confirm every fear. For now, all anyone can do is listen to the whispers and wonder which cornerstone of the squad might be ready to walk away, and what that would mean for the green and white side of the city. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.